booties for black girl nerds.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So good to talk to you. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me today. Really excited to talk about this film with you. You've redefined Predator with Prey. What drew you back to the franchise, and did you want to push it further with Killer of Killers?
Yeah, I mean, I was really thankful that people dug what we did with Prey, and I think sometimes um, when people make sequels, it's just um, the next. It's a sequel to a cool thing rather than being a cool thing in and of itself, you know? And so I was really trying to figure out if I were to make another thing, what would it be? How could it be awesome in its own right, not just the next installment that I felt like I had to do because um, people like the first one. So in forcing myself to think in those terms, I had what I think are three cool ideas. One of them is Predator Badlands that comes out later this year. The
Really
other is
excited for
something awesome. Good, good.
that.
Um, the other is something that I can't talk about yet. And then the third idea was this one was what if we did something with the time periods and not wanting to just fulfill the what if fantasy of it to really make it special. Um, the idea of anthology and animated, a medium that we've never seen the Predator franchise go to, and and then having the stories all be thematically oriented and about something and emotional while being absolutely brutal was was the charge.
I loved every bit of this. I love the fact that you've got like this gamer headset on right now because the
That's what it
animation had,
is. Yep.
yeah, it had this sort of video game aesthetic to it, which
Mm.
was really cool too. And the Predator fan base is very passionate. That's why I'm one of those fans that's very passionate, and that's why I'm very excited for Badlands. What are some of the elements that drew or that you knew had to stay true to canon? And where did you feel free to reinvent?
I mean, one of the things that um, well, I'll say this. We were very lucky to have Alec Gillis still be a part of the process for us. Alec Gillis was around working under Stan Winston, dating back to the original. He's worked on many of the Predator movies, many of the Alien movies. He's the real OG monster maker, practical effects guy. And he's really become, for me, one of the aesthetic uh, um, not gatekeeper, but real source of inspiration and guidance for the design of what makes things yautja, as we would say, and a predator franchise oriented. And one of the greatest things in working animation is we are no longer forced to think about there's a guy inside those suits, so the suits can't be designed the way you would want to design them to be the creature you're trying to represent. Um, before we're forced to like it has a human, so that means the proportion. Oh, we have this really cool concept art, but now we have to do this to it because there's a human inside of it. Nope, not anymore. Now it can be just like the concept art, and embrace some artistic stylizations. So now we have multiple different, I hope to become very iconic predators that we could only get away with in animation.
Speaking of getting away with, can fans expect any hidden Easter eggs or callbacks that, like the hardcore nerds should be able to look out for in Killer of Killers?
Certainly, as the film reaches its climax, there are a couple real gems of Easter egg for and not just Easter egg. I mean, open cracked open egg
In your face,
in
like,
your face stuff. So
yeah, I
and the
saw a few.
overall. Sorry, go ahead.
I no, I said I saw a few.
Yes.
So
It's
yeah.
just the overall conceit for what the movie becomes really does shed light on what may have been happening all along in all those other movies that you've enjoyed, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and I love the setup to Prey that we get to see in this
Mm,
film. So,
mm.
Dan, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to Black Girl Nerds. I really appreciate the conversation.
Likewise, this was fun.
Hi, Jack.
Hello, Jean. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, of course.
So first of all, Killer of Killers was great. I love the animation. I just love the whole setup to Prey. That was really cool.
Thank
Um,
you.
was there like a core theme or a question that guided your approach to Killer of Killers?
In the storytelling, I mean, it was really important for us to find the conflicts that were reflective of their cultures and their time periods. There's a mother-son story that is incredibly different from today, and what was important to her and what the values that she held are definitely not something you would find in today's culture. But we still wanted to find, kind of our way into that heart. And then that goes for each of them, right? The story about the brothers in Japan and this young pilot in World War II. We in each of them we wanted to find like what is that family connection or what is that relational connection in like World War II. He has a father, but there's also another father dynamic going on to reflect that. So really, we're setting that up, and then we just so if I were to step back, I would say coming together as a family in unexpected ways. And if you've seen the film, so I'll leave it at that. But that was something that we were really kind of trying to set up and hopefully bring home for everybody.
I love that. I love that it's the core theme of family and these different vignettes that we get to watch throughout this narrative, which was so beautifully done. As a co-director, how did you and Dan divide your responsibilities creatively? Like, where did your visions align, and where did you guys challenge each other?
Sure. So I come from animation and previs, and Dan and I've worked together for many years now. And we got to develop scenes and really nerd out about like, oh man, it'd be so cool. This one scene is going on, and we'd write little stickies and paste them up on the whiteboard, and plan out really cool action scenes, but also really cool emotional scenes in live action. And then it was like, okay, well, let's just keep that going. It just so happens to be that we're going to make an animated movie. Well, with Prey, Dan obviously did incredible on that movie, and he really was invited to think about the franchise as a whole. So he was kind of like really taking on that vision for the franchise and thinking about both Predator Killer of Killers, but also Predator Badlands. And so my kind of responsibility was really like, okay, here's how we approach animation, and here's how we could potentially do it in a new way, a new, very, very fast way. Our production was 18 months long, which is about half of what typical of an animated feature.
Yeah.
Um, so,
Wow.
so I would, be showing Dan, okay, here's what's next, here's what's next. But then, so he was very involved in the beginning, and then he had to go to New Zealand and film the other movie at the same time. So we're able to like, send files back and forth, and honestly, it was more of a like, all right, you're busy here. I'll do this. It was really just trying to, divide and conquer.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, as you're telling me that, was there information that you picked up on while he was filming the movie? Was there changes made because you guys were actually like at the same time simultaneously doing these productions and creatively making this story?
Well, luckily he was here for the beginning when we did the majority of the story development and previs. And so after that, we're moving more into like, all right, we're taking this story and we're gonna enhance it, we're gonna beautify it, we're gonna polish it, right? But there were cool things, and I think Dan mentioned this in the talk that we found some cool designs that he was able to pluck from the animated movie and actually put into the live action form. So there's little nuggets for the fans that when they see the Badlands that they can find some crossovers.
Awesome. This was so well done. I really enjoyed it. Loved seeing like an animated version of the Predator verse, if you will. And like I said at the beginning, really great setup for Prey. I love that. I'm not going to say no more. I feel like I want to say more, but I don't want to spoil it for the folks that are watching.
Yes.
And I can't wait to see like just the through line, because it's a nice through line into, what we'll see with Badlands coming up, which I can't
Yeah.
wait for that too. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Josh, for taking the time to speak to Black Girl Nerds. I really appreciate the
Well,
conversation.
thank you, Jamie. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds. Better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds.